Hello, my name is Stefan and this is my visual essay on Red Road. The film tells the story of Jackie, a CCTV security operator who gets obsessed with a man from her past. The title comes from the Red Road flats in Glasgow. It is said that most of the film was shot in a Dogma 95 style, which is understandable since the project was launched by the executive producers Gillian Barry, Lone Scherfig, Anders Thomas Jensen, and director Lars von Trier, who formed the Advance Party, which was a concept of 3 films that all had to follow a set of rules. Each film had to be made by different debut directors, and all of the characters and cast had to be the same for all 3 films. Scherfig and Jensen came up with the characters and gave them short backstories, which the directors then had to build up their story on. The summary of the characters, taken from the Glasgow Film and Fine Arts website, state this: Jackie, 34, has lost her only brother, her husband, and their child. Habitually, she maintains a relationship with a married man, and she gets just enough intimacy to avoid shutting herself away from the world. And then Clyde, 35, has spent 10 of those years behind bars. His circle of friends is still a motley of people, but relentlessly he sticks to the straight and narrow path.
Oh, you're a fucking animal.
Throughout the movie, we see a variation between different stylistic approaches. It is true that Andrea Arnold used some of the Dogma 95 rules like location shooting, handheld camera, the fact that the film is in color, it does not contain any superficial action such as someone dying. There is no temporal and geographical alienation as the film is set in Glasgow. The film format is 35mm, and even the fact that the director is not credited, which in this case was only in the beginning. However, I cannot seem to ignore those bright red and yellow artificial lights shown in the party scene. In his essay on Red Road, Norman Holland writes, "There is a lawless and poor Red Road neighborhood with its sex and violence. Then there are the caring middle-class locals, the surveillance operator center, Jackie's home, her in-laws' home. These become associated with family, marriage, job, and in general caring environments. Cool blues and pastels mark the middle-class caring environments. Strident reds and oranges, the lawless world of Red Road."
Leave me, Clint! Fucking leave me! Stevie, enough! Leave me!
Stevie, I had it coming.
Fucking, you had it coming. You had it coming.
Somehow your problems seem to follow me fucking everywhere, huh? What the fuck was all that about, man?
Similarly, the film contrasts open environments with tightly confined spaces, often corridors, in which you have to come close up face to face with someone you might not like to be seen by, someone you would like to avoid.
You going to the party?
Yeah.
The director made a stylistic choice to separate the different classes throughout color and thus take a step away from Dogma 95 and the realism movement. As Jackie moves further in the apartment away from the party, the lights become yellow right next to the door that seems to belong to a child. After, when she goes back, everything becomes red again, resembling working class, and also the danger that she is into facing those so-called dangerous men. For me, Arnold made that decision as a strong metaphor. The society of the middle class sees those men and women as a threat, like the children who stabbed the girl on the street. But the director clearly has a different view. She portrays those characters simply as people who try to live their lives as best as they can. They are not junkies gathered to get drunk. They're there to enjoy those little moments of happiness that they have in their lives, and they clearly are not a threat. However, Jackie, as part of the middle class, does not have the same views, or at least not yet. When Jackie goes inside the living room and Clyde and herself see each other, he steps forward to meet her. Here, we all see that the picture still tries to convey him as a threat. His face is halfway lit, leaving the other half in the dark. For Jackie, there is something good in him, but also frightening. On the other hand, Jackie is right in front of the camera, flat lit, in a close-up, fully exposed to him and the audience. Right after they meet, the music changes into a slow love song, and surprisingly, Jackie accepts Clyde's dance invitation. After reading about the realism movement, I came across Jean Renoir, who was a pioneer from the French poetic realism movement and was often cited with the long take because he believed that the camera should not manipulate the audience. The audience should be able to navigate their way around the frame rather than being visually led, and there should be as less cuts as possible. He argued that realist films should be shot with a great depth of field because that resembles the experience of real life. Andrea Arnaud, on the other hand, does exactly the opposite in these sequences. As they start to dance, the edit becomes faster and faster, jumping from her to him. We see clear direction from Arnaud as she cuts to Jackie's ring and then to the couple making out. The focus becomes blurry and the depth of field shallow, resembling the insecurity and new interesting feelings that Jackie is experiencing. As he starts kissing her, she finally goes back to reality and storms off from the apartment.
I should go.
Well,
Home.
who's got here? Hey.
In conclusion, even though the project was set as a Dogma 95, throughout the whole length of the film, we see a lot of social issues that Arnaud addresses. The poverty and the filthiness that the people in the estate live in, the street dogs, the lost in the world teenagers, the violence on the streets. But all of it is shot with a great deal of style, which makes me think that Red Road should be put on the shelves of social realism and nowhere else.
Where you from?